Mr. Dillon.
Good evening. I would like to make a few general comments first and then go into the specific cuts at the high school. This is my first year at Lunenburg High School, and I have to say that yesterday was the most difficult day as a high school principal because I went over the cuts at a faculty meeting. The personnel cuts and the physical cuts will impact what I see as a very vibrant school that has a very strong school culture and a very strong school climate. It's difficult for me to believe that with these cuts that there won't be a negative impact on that. Secondly, when I look at the central office cuts are on the Director of Instruction and Director of School Services. Again, as a high school principal, I can't fathom how a high school can function without some curriculum facilitation and without special education direction. As competent as our superintendent is, I question whether she is capable of handling that position. And that is no criticism of Superintendent Carnes. Also, as I was preparing for this budget presentation, I did a little bit of research around the DOT, which is a school analysis tool that the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education puts out. And what I saw when they did comparable schools that included Lunenburg High School, I saw that we were achieving at the highest end from an academic standpoint, and from a fiscal standpoint, we're closer to the middle or below. The phrase bang for your buck, I think gets pretty old. With regard to the high school, the cuts as specified in the handout include several different pieces. It's hard to compartmentalize these cuts and very simply state that these cuts will have on every student and staff member currently at Lunenburg High School. The first cut is greenhouse manager. The statement I included with that, it's a unique academic and community program will be eliminated. I think that is one of the unique pieces of Lunenburg High School that, frankly, I have not experienced at the other schools that I have been at. Fewer options for students to engage in hands-on academic experience. The Lunenburg High School Greenhouse has provided the ACE and Achieve program the opportunity to explore and practice the many skills necessary to work in a community greenhouse. Included in the skills learned are identifying plants, variety, soil needs, etc. Acquiring these skills is functional for our students and can lead to vocational opportunities in and out of school. The loss of 2 sections of Horticulture 1 that impacts between 24 and 30 Lunenburg High School students will have an impact on the elective offerings at Lunenburg High School and will result clearly in larger class sizes in the electives that remain. Also, this program was highlighted in the NESC report of 2010. In fact, next week, some of our students will be honored for their work at the Boston Flower Show. Second significant cut, is the elimination of the technology education program. Not only does this impact 6 elective offerings that reflect 9 sections at the high school, it also impacts currently 120 students. That only gives numbers. The reality of it is that this is a program that has a direct connection to math and science. We see STEM research in all of the research publications around public schools, and that will be a significant loss. It will be difficult for me to claim that Lunenburg High School is a comprehensive high school as we eliminate a program such as technology education. A .4 school adjustment counselor. We have spent the year reviewing and revising our student support system, which is a system that it works with our most needy population. This position, the .4 school adjustment counselor, has become an integral part of that student support system. The person currently holding that position has a student load of 15 that she works on her own, and these are 15 of the most needy students at Lunenburg High School. Clearly, with the loss of that position, those needs must be met by already overwhelmed guidance department. RTI, Response to Intervention, which is a program that has been in place in the Lunenburg district and fledgling at Lunenburg High School, and was beginning to make some significant groundwork. We will be losing the RTI person at the high school who also teaches a .2 English section, and that program will not be the same with that cut. We're losing a .5 custodian. Very simply, the maintenance and cleanliness of the building will decline. I don't see any other way of describing that cut. A study hall tutor and peer tutor coordinator, which is another RTI resource, and equally, if not more important, provides the high school staff with common planning time. Common planning time at the high school allows for interdisciplinary discussion and also curriculum review and revision. In the NASC report of 2010, Lunenburg High School was commended for its common planning time initiative, and it was also cited for its lack of interdisciplinary opportunities. Both of those will be included as citations as opposed to recommendations. A special education aide, a key support person to our most at-risk population. Lunenburg High School currently has a very strong inclusive program with co-taught classes. With the loss of a key special ed aide, the number of co-taught classes will be reduced, and therefore the services given to those students will be lessened. The operating budget, which is just a number, it's a $20,000 cut. Again, in referring to the NASC report, we were cited for having a lack of adequate technology for students. In addition, the Commission cited Lunenburg High School in the area of maintenance, repair, and replacement of classroom equipment needed to deliver instruction. That $20,000 cut will not only prevent us from adding some needed technology in the math and foreign language department, but it will also keep us at a bare bones operating budget. In closing, it's hard for me to state other than the fact that Lunenburg High School students will be the victims of these budget cuts. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Any questions or comments for Joe? Out there. Good. Thanks.
Also, to address this deficit, another $25,000 reduction that's a 10% reduction to the athletic program is necessary. And Mr. McCauliff, our AD, is here to talk about the impact of that.
Good evening. Our athletic program has certainly been a source of great pride for this community. It's also provides our student athletes with those life lessons that complement their academic pursuits. And this isn't the first cuts that we've sustained. Just a few years ago, when I started off as athletic director, our user fees were $50. We've seen a steady increase in that as what's happened to maintain the athletic department as it is. We have shifted that burden from the budget onto the athletes as user fees have increased. If we're not at the tipping point there, we've got to be close, as we've seen the number of requests for waivers on those go up some 300% over the last couple of years. We've already reduced some programs several years ago, reduced the schedule on track and cross country and things like that, where we play the bare minimum schedule. Spring track, 5 track meets during the regular season. Our other sports, we maintain those schedules by funding it from the user fees. We'll certainly lose student athletes who can't afford the increased fees, yet they don't qualify for exemptions as our user fees continue to increase. And what happens there is we get into a really bad kind of chasing our tail situation where we rely on those user fees to fund our other sports programs. For instance, in the spring, we get over 100 students out for spring track because there are no limitations on what we can do and playing time issues and such. And those students really fund our baseball and softball program. So as we lose students, as the fees increase, then we will be in a situation where we'll have to further reduce or increase, and I think we all know where that goes. So the next cut will result more than likely in eliminating entire programs, which then there's that fallout from the reduced income from those programs and such. So where we're at with a $25,000 reduction for next year, with a new transportation contract for next year, we should see a savings of $8,000 on transportation. But that's not going to get us there. I'm going to reduce the number of games that we play in soccer, field hockey, basketball, baseball, and softball from currently between 18 and 20 down to 16, which will save us another $5,000. And the final piece, or the biggest piece, will be to increase the user fees from $185 to $210, and that'll bring us $10,000 if we continue to get over 400 students during the course of the year to pay the user fee. And that will be something we won't know until next year during the course of the year. What happened the last time we increased was students still came out in the fall for their first sport, but started making a tough choice with the winter or spring sport. Now, we also have some of the middle school teams that now come under the high school team. The middle school girls field hockey program is run from the high school. We eliminated the middle school basketball program and tennis this year. We are not replacing any uniforms this year. We also severely reduced maintenance on the fields, which we picked up with coaches and volunteers, in some instances painting the lines with the coaching staff literally a few minutes, or in some cases while the other team was waiting to get on the field. General repairs, upgrades, and things like that just aren't happening. With nearly 600 students participating in our athletic program, it's getting more difficult. The final piece of that, the further reduction in supplies, uniforms, game help, and those things, as those are already pretty much reduced, and none of them are large enough to take enough out of at this point to get to that $25,000 number. So it'll be a combination of things like that that will happen. At this point, I can't say with great confidence that by the spring of next year we'll have enough money that we generate through the program to have the spring program. The spring program next year, which at this point is slated for spring track, which in the past has brought between 100 and 115 athletes out. Baseball and softball, but another 60 athletes out, would be 160 kids who would be impacted by that. But it's hard to say what will happen as those fees increase and students have to make that choice.
Thanks, Pete. Any questions? It's pretty straightforward. Thanks.